What's up, YouTube? It's Jeff Toffner on the Glorious Podcast with my SmackDown Live review, the November 7th, 2017 edition from Manchester, England. The show was tonight. And there you have it. AJ Styles is your new WWE Champion. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't see it coming. Well, in a way, we actually all saw it coming. I mean, assuming everybody got that notification. Similar to what happened last night on Raw, we all got the notification around like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon saying that there was a new champion crowned. It was spoiler alert, went on, and then obviously Sheamus and Cesaro won the tag titles last night. Same case tonight, and I honestly got the notification, and I just started laughing because I was like, I just felt it was going to happen. I had this like feeling in the back of my mind ever since they announced the match that this might happen, especially with the title changing hands last night on Raw. I thought there was a really good chance that we could see something happen tonight. And I knew right away. I mean, they were having the tag team title match tonight too, but I knew right away that it was AJ Styles that won. So it wasn't the biggest surprise in a way, but I mean, thank God. I've been saying for weeks on end now that they need to get that title off Jinder Mahal, and they've done it. They've done it. They put it off him, and they put it on Styles, and guess what? In the now we don't have to sit through Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series on the good note. So we get AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar. So they're doing all these matches that are like changing the Survivor Series card. Last night we obviously we're not getting the Rollins and Ambrose versus the Usos. We're getting Sheamus and Cesaro versus the Usos now. So changing up that a little bit. And next week they announced Charlotte's going to take on Natalya for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I'm almost certain that Charlotte will end up winning the title next week and going on to face Raw Women's Champion Alexa Bliss at Survivor Series. I'm almost certain that's going to happen. Many reasons why. One of them being that they're actually in Charlotte, North Carolina, and obviously Charlotte's from Carolina, so that would make more sense. And it just felt like for weeks, it's been a rumor going around for weeks now that they wanted to put the title on Charlotte and do Charlotte versus Alexa Bliss at a Survivor Series. So I mean, they're trying to, in a way, to make Survivor Series better, doing all this stuff. I mean, it's sort of working. I mean, I don't know. I was kind of pissed though that we're not going to get to see Rollins and Ambrose take on the Usos. I was looking forward to that match, but I'm sure Sheamus and Cesaro versus Usos could still be a really good match. I'd much rather probably see Alexa Bliss take on Charlotte than Natalya, but I don't know. It could go either way. And then obviously the big one, Jinder Mahal is no longer taking on Brock Lesnar. AJ Styles. So AJ Styles is now in the main event of the Survivor Series. He's got the WWE Championship back. The match they had on SmackDown, it wasn't bad. It was actually okay. It was one of Jinder Mahal's better matches in my opinion. And Styles, he was great as usual. Great match. Styles picks up the title. Now the question kind of remains, if you want to kind of put Survivor Series out of perspective here and kind of look further down the road, how long are they going to keep the title on Styles? Well, immediately as soon as, the report came out that he won the title, everybody was speculating that they could be doing this just to either alter Survivor Series or because they want to have Mahal win the title back when they're over in India in the second week of December, I think it is. They're doing an India tour or something for like the first time. And, it's obvious everybody thought they would keep the title on Mahal through that, but what they did is they took it off him. So now, this was sort of a surprise tonight. It makes you start speculating, they're going to probably have him win the title back there in India. And then, Mahal will probably have the title and hold it all the way up until WrestleMania, unfortunately, which isn't good because, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to see the title back on him. I want to see just AJ Styles hold it for a while, unless they got something else in mind with someone else, but I don't know. That's probably what will happen, but let's not focus on that now. Let's just focus on Survivor Series for the time being. We'll get more in-depth into that, after Survivor Series. As for the rest of SmackDown, it was kind of an uneventful night, really. The only reason a lot of people were watching, it probably bolstered the ratings a lot. A lot of people probably tuned in when they got the notification saying Styles won the title. They're like, oh, I got to watch tonight. So I'm sure, especially the second hour ratings of the show probably did really good, because of that being the title match and everything. But the rest of the show was kind of bland. Nothing crazy happened. The first whole half hour of the show, there was like a promo with Shane McMahon, The New Day, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens that ended up leading to a match between Kofi and Sami. Kofi picks up the win. It was a long match, decent match, but like I said, that took up a whole 25% of the show. So we get Randy Orton Rusev qualifying match for the men's team. Randy Orton picks up the win, fills up final spot. For some odd reason, I thought Randy Orton was already in this match. I don't know why. I could have sworn that they announced it already that he was already in the match, but I guess not. Maybe they weren't. I guess I was just hearing them wrong. But Orton now is on Team SmackDown Live at Survivor Series. We have Becky Lynch taking on James Ellsworth in a intergender match. That was kind of a disaster. Becky Lynch obviously picks up the win. And everybody turns on Ellsworth, specifically Carmella, and I guess that's it for Ellsworth now, right? Or are they gonna make up again like they did last time? I don't know. But yeah, Becky Lynch beats James Ellsworth. The tag team title match: Shelton Benjamin, Chad Gable taking on the Usos. Benjamin and Gable pick up the win, but it's via count out, so the Usos are still the champs. With all the title changes going on, I wouldn't have been surprised if they actually changed the titles there, but I think they want to keep the titles on the Usos at least for the time being. Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, I like them, but I feel like they don't have much of a character yet. They need to kind of develop more in a way. So, I mean, they're a step ahead of what's like going on with the experiment of Jason Jordan over on Raw with character development in a way. Because, I mean, putting Shelton Benjamin with Chad Gable, I think is helping Chad Gable. He's kind of benefiting off that because people know who Shelton Benjamin is. You don't have to be the most hardcore fan of WWE to know that. But when they had Jason Jordan and Chad Gable together, people who didn't watch NXT, you know what I mean, and didn't know much about that, had no clue who these guys were. So they're like, why should we be cheering for these guys? But you put Shelton Benjamin with them, there people are like, oh, all right, you know what I mean? Like, I'll cheer for them. And it's kind of weird. It almost seemed like in past weeks they've been playing a heel role, but now they're kind of playing, I don't know. I can't tell if they're like heels. It almost seemed like the Usos were face there for a few weeks too. So they've been kind of switching it up a bit almost, but I think that they're still the faces and the Usos are the heels. But the Usos remain the champs. They'll still take on Sheamus and Cesaro, assuming there's not another title match next week. Which who knows? They could do that, but I don't think they'll. I mean, I don't think they'll change the titles. They could do a match though, so I'm not ruling that out. That was basically everything else that happened on SmackDown. I mean, obviously, the main point of the show was Styles taking on Mahal. It wasn't real eventful night. I mean, we're just gonna remember this for the night AJ Styles won the title. I remember just seeing something before I came on here and did this review that it was the first time that WWE titles ever changed hands outside of North America. I think they actually said that at the end of the show. So that's cool, you know what I mean? 2 titles changed hands this week. I don't know I feel like there's a couple reasons. It could be because they actually wanted to change the title. I mean, not the title, it's the card up at Survivor Series. Maybe they weren't a fan of the card at Survivor Series, so WWE was kind of like, people are pissed about Survivor Series. We got to change it up a bit. So they put the title on Styles, and then they put the tag titles on Sheamus and Cesaro. Expecting, and like I said, leading to all this other stuff, the New Day will probably end up taking on the Shield. I believe that will probably get announced sometime either next week on Raw or SmackDown. I think that's what they're going to end up doing. Roman Reigns is obviously returning on Raw next week, so, it seems like they were hinting at that on Raw, especially this past week. So that will probably end up getting announced, but they could have just did it for that reason because they wanted to change Survivor Series, or the other reason they did all this stuff was because they were worried ratings would plummet because of it being the UK shows and stuff and not being live. People would just be like, oh, the results are out and everything. Just look at the results, and there's no point of even tuning into the show tonight. So I feel like maybe they kind of went into panic mode in a way, and they were like, all right, we're not going to let ratings go super low or whatever, so we got to do something big this week. So let's change titles on both shows or something. So obviously, you change the tag titles on Raw, and then you have a huge change, WWE Championship on SmackDown, with AJ Styles winning it. So they could have did it for that, or they could have did it for both reasons, or they could have just did it because they wanted new champions. But I don't think it was that. I think it was either the idea of wanting, a better Survivor Series card and the ratings going up, but they kind of go hand in hand. I mean, if you want a better Survivor Series card, you change the titles. Obviously, they would have saved it for this show, not next week or the week before, because they were worried this show could probably, have bad ratings. So I think that helped in ratings a lot this week. I actually think Raw and SmackDown ratings will actually do pretty well this week in regards to these title things, and that's mainly the reason why. I mean, if it wasn't for this, I think it would have kind of been, below average week in ratings for WWE. But once ratings come out, I don't know if Raw ratings are out yet, but once, if they are, I'll have to take a look at them. But I assume that ratings actually did pretty well this week in both Raw and SmackDown. So that's good for them, I guess. I mean, really the title changes. SmackDown, the overall show, I feel like I want to say Raw was the overall better show this week. Even though, we had AJ Styles winning the title tonight, I feel like Raw overall as a whole was better. There was just more stuff happening on Raw. I felt like SmackDown, you look at it, I mean, outside of AJ Styles winning the title over Jinder Mahal, what really happened? I mean, it was a bunch of matches and stuff, backstage segments, whatnot, but it really wasn't much of an eventful night. So I'll probably give the edge to Raw this week as for the better show. But SmackDown, I mean, like I said, Styles winning the title was cool and all, but anyway, we got one more week until Survivor Series, though, so we'll have to see what happens next week. As for a week, though, I really expected these shows to be really bad, to be honest with you. But I'll give props to WWE. Both shows were pretty decent this week. Usually the UK shows aren't that good, but hey, I got much better than what I expected. So I'm happy with that. I'll take that as a positive, and hopefully next week's good. We got the go home shows, and then Survivor Series weekend, the big pay-per-view weekend next weekend. So I'm looking forward to everything. Hopefully everything turns out good. We'll see if there's any more title changes next week. But let me know what you guys thought of the show down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe, follow me all over social media. The links are always in the description below. And I will see you guys sometime later this week right here on the Glorious Podcast.